Hello guys, today I'm going to be doing a video on Hogwarts Legacy with the GTX 1050 Ti. We're going to be starting it off at 1080p on the lowest settings. So jumping to the settings and then display, here we are 1080p, TIA low. All this extra stuff is disabled, and for graphics, the lowest preset. This will be the final video on Hogwarts Legacy, and then we'll have Returnal that will come out in 2 days I think, or a day from when the video goes up, which will be kind of exciting. So let's jump into it. We are in the wintertime now, the coziest season, and starting it off with getting 30 FPS, which is not a good start, but this card is, I guess, pretty old at this point, but it still does a great job at playing this game for the most part. Let's go ahead and fly up and fly towards the forest. FPS is falling down a little bit, but obviously with FSR we should be able to fix this and get above 30 FPS most of the time, which will be good. I think a mix of medium to low settings for this game will be a pretty good, I guess, balance for quality and performance. Well, that was a weird pop in and they're just running through the wall. Well, look who it is again. I've killed these dudes like 3 times I think at this point. They will never learn. They will never learn. Look, watch this. Hey, why'd you become so stiff? What happened? Why'd you become so stiff? You. Now watch this, guys. Ready? Watch this.
It's shameful what you've done to help.
Finally have my mount. I'm level 27 now I think in the game, and I finally received my mount. Look at him go. So majestic. Whoa, 20 FPS I think at this point. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this, but with the 1060 I was using up 5.5 gigs of VRAM already at the low settings. So just imagine this card with only 4 gigs of VRAM and how much it's going to be struggling. Yeah, look at this, man. 20 FPS. Oh. Yeah, not so good, is it?
Go!
Relax, he's trying his hardest, okay? Relax. Whoa, just like this graphics card is trying its hardest, but it is not good enough at all. Look at this. We're getting a lot of pop in now, and the FPS has dropped down into the low to mid 20s from being comfortably in the high 20s / the low 30s. Just like the 1060, falling down below 20 FPS at around 16 FPS right now. Oh, this feels so super choppy right now. Wow, this is bad. Alright, here we are with FSR. We're running the game at 720p at this point, but hopefully we can get above 30 FPS the whole time. Alright, pretty good. Almost in the 40s now. Let's hop in onto the broom. I've got to say, the quality looks fantastic at 1080p, even though most of the time in most games it looks pretty poor and blurry. In this game, it's definitely viable and it's definitely usable.
None of you'd have a head left on your shoulders.
I swear. You know what, actually, let's not go stealthy. Let's pull up. See how the fighting goes with all the fire effects. Ooh, watch this, ready? Let's call in the flame. It's doing fine, even with the flame effects, or the fire effects, it did fine. We didn't fall below 30 FPS there, so actually pretty good. For 1080p I would go as low as balanced mode for FSR. Once you go to performance you're losing a bunch more quality and the game looks far more blurry, so it's a bit more riskier, but yeah, you can still go with performance. I just wouldn't go with it personally. Alright, flying towards the forest without high wing this time. Whoa, watch it, buddy. I just talked to the tree right there, nice. But yeah, doing pretty good so far. Haven't fallen below 30 FPS yet. The main issue with the low settings is the pop-in my personal opinion. Everything else looks pretty good, but the NPC count is low and the pop-in is pretty bad. But if you don't care about that, then obviously you can go ahead and use it, and as you can see, you can have a great time playing the game. Alright, let's go ahead and push FSR up to balance now, and hopefully we can get a stable 40 FPS and good to go from there. Okay, here we are with balanced FSR. As you can see, FPS is up into the 40s now, whereas before we were sitting in the mid to high 30s, and at native 1080p we were sitting in the low 30s. So a massive FPS boost, and the quality, to be honest, looks quite good still. We're getting a bit of, I guess, shimmering in the distance there, but overall the game looks pretty good, and yeah, FPS is doing fantastic as well. So yeah, sitting in the high 40s, it's pretty good to be honest, but I think for this game and this card I would go with a 30 FPS cap. You don't really need 40 FPS, just go with 30 FPS and use a controller, or you can use a keyboard and mouse if you want, but it's not going to feel as smooth as above 40 FPS or 50 FPS. And the winter season shouldn't be too different in terms of its FPS. There's still grass everywhere and the trees are still full, as you can see in the forest. So again, it shouldn't be too far off, but I'll go ahead and test that anyway, just to make sure. And just like that, we are in a different season. Winter's gone, and so is High Wing. But let's call in our broom. As you can see, FPS is still sitting in the high 40s, so it wasn't really affected between the seasons. It's still running the same. And flying up again. Going over here, sitting in the 50s now. So pretty much the same FPS as what we had before. Now falling down into the mid to low 40s. Alright, and here we are in the medium settings. There we go. Looking good. I'm hoping for, I guess, a low to mid 20s experience at this point. It's not going to be good. There we go. Sitting in the mid 20s. Alright, let's get going. Should we use high wing? Let's do it. Yeah, it's my boy. Let's go. Alright, I mean obviously it's not going to be playable at 25 FPS. But still, not bad. Falling into the low 20s. I mean, there's no surprises here. At the low settings we were sitting at 30 FPS barely. So at medium settings we're going to fall down into the low to mid 20s. But maybe with FSR we can actually save this up to 30 FPS and have a decent time. But yeah, at native 1080p, it's just not happening with this card. Alright, and with balanced FSR, we are now sitting in the high 20s, I guess, mid to high 20s. But again, the game is not going to be playable at all. It is just far too intensive. I think ideally for this card, playing at 900p and then using FSR at medium settings will be the right thing to do. We should be able to get 30 FPS at that point quite easily. How is the shield back up? How is that possible? Wait, what? Did he disappear? Where did he go? I think it just disappeared. Hey you. You're gone, sir. Bye-bye. Okay, so I would say that medium settings is not playable at all. It's just not worth using, to be honest. You had far more headroom at the low settings with FSR. You were sitting in the 40s pretty much on average. And now we were just pretty much sitting at 30 FPS if we're lucky. So yeah, it's not worth using at all. At 900p, maybe, but at 1080p, no, I wouldn't use it. Alright, and for the optimized settings, we're going to be pretty much in between medium and low. 1080p with balanced FSR. And for quality, here we are at a mix of low to medium settings. There we go. So as you can see, the FPS is very similar to the low settings, but the quality is obviously improved. In the forest, we're sitting at 31 to 35 FPS, which is pretty good. There's no stuttering that I can feel either. It's running pretty smoothly for the most part. On the ground, we're sitting pretty much in the high 30s / the low 40s, which is fantastic. So yeah, at this point, you should get a decent experience out of this card. If you get CPU bottlenecked, if you have a weaker CPU, then go ahead and jump into the settings and lower the quality for the view distance and your population quality. Just bring this down to low, and you should get a bit more headroom on your CPU and GPU as well. Alright, that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for Returnal. See you guys there.